Hello. Hello. Hey, look at that. It's Doggo. Alright, let me open up this. Let's get our Doggo going. Hello, everyone. Hello. Alright, so this guy is here. Here's our boy here. Why is that like that? Hold on. Let me see here. Did that go? Let me see. We're going to talk about the Mini for a second. He's a bit gappy boy. But I'm going to give you some pointers for putting the Mini together. I don't know why my camera is like that. So, if you can see here, Mini's a little bit gappy boy. But, yes, we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about this for a second because I just want to get this out of the way. And then we're going to talk about everything for Doggo. So, he's not too bad. He's a little bit gappy. My cape actually turned out okay. Some people were saying he gets a lot of bit gappy. His arm here, kind of a little bit gappy here. He's a bit of a gappy boy, but the main thing here is there's like 3 or 4 pieces you can see here. I would suggest, I saw a lot of people were saying when you put the 2 pieces together for this. When you put the 2 pieces together, put it on the sword side. That was like really good advice to put it on the sword side. I just wanted to show this real quick so everybody knows. When you put it together, if these kind of it might be slightly off, but keep everything to the sword side. And this piece here of his mail will cover up bigger gaps because there's a bigger gap under this piece, but you can hide most of it. And I think he's okay. But you can see from his arm here. So I thought that was really helpful. Yeah, I'll fill the gap filler and stuff, but I just wanted to say that because that was really helpful. It was when I first put it together, it was a lot worse. So do the sword side. All right, that was it. That's all I wanted to share. It was worse. It was worse. If you do his left side, when you put the 2 pieces together, this gap will be really bad. Right, when I was dry fitting, like the gap here it gets worse. Make sure you gap this side because it's not too bad. Like this is easy to fill because it's just the cape and stuff. All right, hopefully that was helpful. When you get it, if you get it, you'll see it. It's kind of noticeable, but oh yeah, the horns on the pauldron. Yes, there's no guide for it up yet, but. Anyway, I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to say that. I thought that was really helpful. People mentioning put it on the sword side. All right, let's go. Look at that. We've got our Black Knight thing all up. Everybody ready? What should we start with? So. You get 5 sheets for your Squires of the Citadel campaign. One-sided. You only have 5 sheets. Not too bad. You can easily make copies of these. Very low stuff on them. Not much information. All right. Let's go. Let's talk about gear. What do you guys want to talk about? I've got everything here. Should we talk about Black Knight Boy? All right. Let's move this light so we get as little bit of glare as possible. That looks better. All right, let's talk about the Squire campaign as I move this light because I want to make sure we get as little glare as possible. So with the Black Knight campaign, I'm going to film that one. Right? I'm not going to stream my Black Knight Squire campaign. We'll play Black Knight live in an actual game. But when it comes to streaming it, or when it comes to the Squire campaign, because I'm sure a lot of people are really interested in the Squire campaign, we're going to... Does that look better? Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. So when it comes to actually streaming our boy here, I'll use him in a campaign, but what we're going to do is our actual Black Knight Squire campaign. I'm going to edit it like I did with all my other edited ones. And I'll try to get it out as fast as possible. Because I know... you know, I can edit it will be faster. Right? So, edited will be better. Let's see. Let me go back to my camera now. It should be better with my actual camera. Right. Sorry, I had to get up and fix the actual camera. I was using my camera as a camera. I had to take some actual photos of minis and stuff, so I forgot to switch it back. But that should be better. All right, let's talk Black Knight. Let's talk Doggo. So, all right. Yes, Black Knight is a Node 3 Nemesis. Right? All right. Looks like it's okay. He has all of his stuff. This one. That's the card I was looking for. We're not going to show that card. So, here's Doggo's traits. We've got Spry. Black Knight definitely avoids flailing bodies bouncing around, or the bodies of bouncing survivors. So, survivors suffering knockback move through spaces occupied by monsters if they were not there. Then, you've got this neat little new color. I want to see how this shows up. Well, he's a hand replacement, so no more hand. So... this isn't... They've changed... Man... We're going to try without this light because it's morning. Let's try without this light. I might not need it because it's so early and the light is like coming in here. We're going to try without the light that I usually use when I stream later. Alright. So he's not affected by knockback for monsters, which is interesting. Because knockback can happen multiple ways. Like, knockback can happen from, like, flee and stuff. So, it's very interesting. Like, there's a lot of things that cause flee, right? Or brain traumas that you can cause knockback into one another. There's also, like, knockback via collision. This is, like, an interesting little thing to even have here. If a survivor ends their knockback on a space occupied by the monster, they suffer collision and knockback 5. But you can get knockback through him, which is interesting, because when I first saw this card, right, I'm gonna pull out one of these cards here. So we're gonna talk all around because I have all this like stuff all out. So you get tactics cards in this. So you get the return of tactics cards, right? Tactics cards are neat. There's 2 tactics cards included in here. There's this tactics card, which when I originally saw it, I thought was like almost impossible to use, right? But then when I actually got Black Knight and I read all the traits here, so this trait where you can do knockback and you can go through it, it makes this launch formation much easier to use on Black Knight himself. So this launch formation is interesting. It says once per showdown, if the survivors are standing in this formation, so you get this formation, the survivors in the magenta position may be launched. So this would be who's ever in the magenta position would be the one who's going to be thrown. All other survivors spend 1 survival to launch their comrade forward. The comrade suffers knockback 6 away from the other survivors. Then, the launched survivor activates and attacks with a melee weapon with +3 strength. So when I originally read this, I was like, man, how would you ever do this? Because when you get knockback 6, right? Like, it's not like pounce. It's not like for example, pounce. You move forward, and then it's if you moved up to 3 spaces. Like, it's just your movement. Same thing with Skewer. Same thing with Immortal Spin. Same thing with Hit Song. All those movement ones, Charge, Knight's Charge. All those movement ones are still your movement. It's not a knockback. A knockback 6 is you have to do the whole knockback. So I was like, how are you ever going to do this? Because if you would need to be exactly 6 spaces away from the monster to make sure that you ended adjacent. There'd be so much prep for this. But with Spry here, using this on Black Knight, you could just go right through him because it's a knockback 6. And the Spry tactic here, survivors suffering knockback, move through spaces occupied by the monster as if it was not there. So you could knock back right through him and go on the other side. So this tactic is really cool. It works really well with his specific thing. Launch formation also works well with things like Spooter and stuff, because you can't collide with Spooter. So that's the tactics card. Let's look at the other tactics card. Where'd I put it? Oh yeah, right here. Blackguard tactics. So all survivors have the honorable disorder for the duration of this showdown, in addition to any other disorders they may have. So this gives you a 4th disorder, which is interesting. When a survivor attacks a monster from its facing, they gain +1 survival. Limit once per round. So this is interesting. And knockdown at the end of the launch formation? No, you do not. You attack with a melee weapon with +3 strength. So, and then if you draw the trap, you reshuffle it into the hit location deck. So, interesting. Very interesting little card. So the 2 tactics are pretty neat. Not super great, but launch formation's pretty good. Hard to set up when you can actually collide. But when a survivor attacks a monster from its facing, they gain +1 survival for a round. This is not bad. It's just fine. There's some, like, these 2 tactics. Yeah, you'd end up knocked down, but you'd go through. No, it's if you end your. Yeah, if a survivor ends their knockback on a space occupied by the monster, they suffer collision and knockback 5. So, you would just go right through him. So if you went right through him with your knockback 6, yeah, you could get. What happens if there's a trap as the last hit location card? Well, this reshuffles the deck, so yeah, it reshuffles it. So you would just reshuffle everything. You'd reshuffle the whole discard and everything. It pretty much resets the hit location deck for you. Really good. really good. This thing is really good. Originally, I thought it was like impossible to pull off, but it's a little bit easier to pull off than what I thought. All right, so there we go. There we have first trait. Let's go. 2. Next we got bounce. Target bounces off the elastic statue. They suffer knockback 8 away from the terrain according to the bounce directions. Since the target was placed on the elastic terrain, do not add 4 to their knockback. Then I flip this card to smash. So this is how the terrain works. So let me pull out an elastomer statue. Here we go. Here is the dungeon tiles. So there's 16 of these dungeon tiles. So you don't even use the showdown board when you play. You just use these dungeon tiles. And there's pots and stuff all over them. So the way the dungeon tiles work is this is considered terrain. Or these are considered empty spaces. But these are considered terrain. So whenever you walk on them, they're considered terrain. And this is all like bad. Walking on terrain is bad. You don't want to walk on terrain. So here's this card. Says jagged debris litters the ground. Survivors on spaces with rubble terrain cannot spend survival. So it's bad to be on that terrain. Yeah, it's not. I mean, with the reach weapon, it's not as bad to pull off with a reach weapon. All right, this card was hard to read. I can't really show this whole card. Like, I can't show the art on this card. Just take my word for what that card says. Anyway, let's get back to the elastomer statues. So there's the elastomer statues. This represents the direction. The little thing here. So it's from where you hit, and then the square around it represents the direction. So that's how the elastomer statues work. They're all printed on the terrain already. So when you do like smash and stuff, that's where it will already be. So there's no like actual terrain for elastomer statues. You get like this rubble terrain that can be everywhere, which is kind of annoying, but there's a whole bunch of this stuff. The amount of terrain that's in here is crazy. I would suggest you just keep all your terrain in this other box here. So here is Boxo terrain, like 16 dungeon tiles plus like that whole left side there is just filled with terrain. So much terrain. All right, we can leave this Squire boards up. The black might actually help the background for reading. Yeah. Oh, I just realized I left the cards there. It's okay. All right, so let's talk about bounce. So the target bounces off the elastomer statue. They suffer knockback 8 away from the terrain according to the bounce directions. And then you flip this card to smash. So that's the trait for Doggo. He's got one more here, right? Yeah. So this is, well, these are his, but they're not really his. So then you have this. This was shown in the Gen Con demo. This is like his whole gimmick. Sheer cliffs. When a survivor suffers knockback to the board edge with knockback remaining, stop their knockback at the board edge and scramble to survive. Your remaining knockback will affect your fate. So, let's check out Scramble to Survive here. Yeah, here's Scramble to Survive. So the artwork that was shown in the Black Night or the Black Friday update. So, with Struggle to Survive, let me know how it looks. So I could probably get a little more light here on the board. Let me see if I can get a little more light on the board for you guys. 1 second. Let's try that. How's that look? I can move another light if needed. We'll see. Whew. Alright, that's too much light, because now it overpowered the green screen. Let me see if I can reset the green screen. Okay, yeah, it's too much light for the green screen to handle. Let me move another one. Alright, let me try this. Let me try that. That might help. Is that better? I have no idea what armor that is. It's Iron Mountain, or Inverted Mountain. It was shown in the Black Friday. So it was shown in one of the Black Friday updates. There, that might be better. Alright, let's see. It's true, it could be Oblivion armor. Alright, there we go. Well, it's the green screen. So moving around the lights affects the green screen, because the green screen was lit up. But then I adjusted the lights for where the green screen was. And if I move lights away from the green screen, then I have to readjust it. So that's Struggle to Survive. Otherwise, what we can do is I'll put the book under the green screen if it's necessary. But this one isn't too bad. Basically, this is just a roll of D10. That's all this says. Yeah, it's just roll D10. You subtract your knockback from your result. So, so when you get knocked off the board edge, you're going to go flying off. Basically, you never want to go above a 6, I think it is. No, you don't want to go... Yeah, you don't want to go below a 6. Below a 6 is bad. So, a 1, you die. 5 or lower, you're just going to take a bunch of damage to your arms. So, eventually that's going to keep causing severe injuries. So, you just don't want to... You don't want to go 5 or less. It's just not good. So, that's Struggle to Survive. So that's the gimmick to get knocked off when you get knocked off the showdown board. Next we have Seasoned Duelist. This is just for higher level ones. I think this is just for like level 3. So level 3 only. The Black Knight possesses was a paternal ability and reflexes. The monster has +3 evasion. Ignore this if you're attacking from its blind spot. So again, that's just the level 3 that makes the level 3 harder. We also have red preference. So let's talk about red preference. The dungeon layout is kind of random. So let's see. If your miniature has red hair, you when you are picked as a target, the monster must pick a new target if possible. So, red preference, super neat. New red preference meta. Make sure you have a lot of redheaded scouts. Redheaded scouts, best thing. So paint your scout mini. I think it actually doesn't matter, right? Because you're gonna get shipping Chan, right? Everyone's gonna get Shippy Container. Samantha Huledge Cargo, right? Everyone's gonna get her anyway. She's got red hair, so best scout. She's gonna be the best scout anyway. So make sure to paint her with red hair. Our good old Samantha Huledge Cargo. All right, let's see. Yeah, that looks about it. All right, let's talk about all these AI cards. So, do you guys want to see AI cards? I didn't really want to spoil AI cards. Do you guys want me to talk about all the AI cards? Or do you want me to just show all the other stuff in the campaign? I assume they see grayscale. I don't actually know if they are colorblind. I think that might have just been something people said, and it might not actually be true. I don't know if they actually are. I can't remember. So I'm not going to show AI cards. I'll set them aside if you guys want me to show every single AI card. But I wasn't planning on showing a bunch of AI card and hit locations. So that wasn't the plan. I guess you guys want to see the trap, I guess? Alright, we'll save the AI cards till the end. And we'll see... You guys want to see the trap? I'm fine with showing the trap. Yes, we'll talk about all the other stuff. I'll leave the trap bookmarked here. We can talk about the trap if you want, but... A new way of making gear? Not really a new way. Tons and tons and tons and tons of patterns. All of his gear is patterns. So, it's not really a new way. It's just the new way, according to Gambler's Chest. Gambler's Chest has a lot of patterns, too. But all of his gear is pattern gear. So let's talk about how you get his pattern gear. When you defeat Black Knight, let's go to his page. I'll show how you get this stuff. Yeah, all of the gear is pattern gear. So... Let me just pick this up and not show spoilers, because there's some spoilers in here. I'm going to go to the page with how you get the patterns. Because how you get them is interesting. I think it's pretty neat. It's definitely a cool way. I think Slenderman will probably start doing this. So where is it? Because I don't want to spoil the whole thing. It's hard to show this page. All right, so I'll just tell you. I was going to show you, but I don't want to spoil the whole thing. So when you defeat the Black Knight, you're going to get a choice of patterns, or you're going to get patterns at random. So, because I don't want to show that page. Page is insanely spoilery. So, you're going to get them at it's semi-random, but you can also choose. You also have the option to choose. So all of the sets are, as you see here, they're all in pattern form. So all of them, Earl, and count, 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 count. So there's the 3 sets. So you're going to want to, the more you fight the Black Knight, the more patterns you get. But you might not get them all. So these are just regular old patterns. They're not all super expensive, but they're not really cheap. Like the Count wrappings are kind of the cheapest ones. Like these are the ones you'd probably want to hope to go for right away. They're pretty neat. But all the regular patterns are just his gear. He does have weapons. The weapons themselves are here. So Piercing Claw and Clasping Shield, these are the seed patterns. So when you get scrap, so 2 times scrap from a node 3, you're going to have to do this. So I'll mention this too. So yeah, I saw a bunch of comments from the video that I did for the update. Right? A lot of people were asking me why I didn't mention 10th anniversary survivors. Yes, I do know that 10th anniversary survivors came out yesterday. Right? That is a thing that I know happened. I didn't talk about it because I don't. Yes, they changed. All right, 10th anniversary survivors have changed. They're new. They are seed patterns now, just like these. So the 10th anniversary survivors, when people get them, they'll be seed patterns. 10th anniversary survivors also have changed their recipes to update to 1.6. So the patterns and the recipes look like they've also changed. Now, the reason why I didn't mention that in the video yesterday was because I don't know if they'll be in the card pack. So that's why I didn't want to talk about it. I was trying to see maybe if Taste would tell me if they were going to be in the card pack. But that's why I didn't talk about it, because I don't know. So hopefully, as soon as I learn about that, yeah, I'll talk about it. So let's get back to seed patterns. These are, you can make a lot of these. You can make 3 of these, which is kind of nuts. These you can make 2 because they're paired, but 3 of the Clasping Shield's kind of nuts. So let's talk about... I couldn't tell if they're still negative numbers. They're probably still the same thing. They're just seed now, and their recipes have changed. Again, I'll talk about it when someone gets it. And I also really want to know if they're going to be in the card pack. Before I really talk about it. All right, you guys ready for gear? Here we go. Let's start with Count stuff. So, Count Sandals. On arrival, lose 1 survival and gain +1 movement token. Very good. On arrival, lose 1 survival and gain a speed token. This has Shred. During your act, you may spend an attribute token to activate a melee weapon and attack. So it's limited once per round. So, again, remember, all these things are tokens. So that's a speed token. That's a movement token. Count Vest does nothing, but... and this one is 2 tokens. 2 survival to gain 2 strength tokens. So this is, like, really cool. This gear feeds itself. This one here is also a good contender for... Yeah, the Card Pack 2 was not on the timeline. Phylos were mentioned... The Phylos were mentioned to ship with Campaigns of Death. Which makes sense. They're probably testing all those Phylos with Campaigns of Death. While they're testing those games, they're probably testing the Phylos. Alright, so... this set's really cool. This is a really... Like, this helm here is a really good candidate for wearing just by itself. If you could combine this with other stuff, like if you were gonna use any kind of mixed hybrid set, and then just rely on the Clothed and Satiated. So, Count gear, really cool. Next, we'll go to the Earl stuff. So Earl, the boots do nothing. So we have your encourage affects all knockdown survivors. Very nice. Whenever you encourage, roll 1d10. On a 6+, all affected survivors gain +1 survival. So, very nice. When you encourage, all affected survivors gain a deflect token. Very nice. When you depart, gain +3 survival. Very nice. This set, again, as we talked about, this set is really good, especially when you can trigger knockdown on yourself. How do you do that? With Gorm, you know, everyone loves Danger Caesars, right? So Danger Caesars, really good now all of a sudden. I'm just kidding, obviously. But hold on, I remember I forgot to show the armor sets, so let me just grab it and I'll show you what the actual set does for Earl. Here we go. So I'll go back. I'll show what the Earl set does. I'm grabbing it. But for this one, I wanted to get that terrain. I forget where it went. Or not terrain, the trait. Remember, as I said, when you fight the Black Knight, all terrain's whenever you're on rubble, right? Rubble has a chance to knock you down and stuff, and you can't spend survival when you're on rubble. But if you get knocked down by it when you're in that difficult terrain, it's really good. So you can trigger. This is the Earl one's a way to like move around that citadel and trigger your own regain, standing up and regain your survival and stuff. So this is an interesting one. We'll talk about the Earl first, and I'll go back to Count Armor because we're talking about Earl right now. So here's the Earl complete set bonus, +2 to all locations, and then double any bonuses gained by other survivors when you encourage. This is really good, even if you're not fighting Black Knight, because you can get things like Leader. Leader's actually not too hard to get. Leader's hard to get in a Gambler's Chest campaign when you're using Arc Survivors. Or whenever you're using Arc Survivors, Leader's going to be a little bit harder to get. But normally, Leader is like... Leader's pretty good, right? You can, or reliably good. You can get Leader from Overwhelming Darkness, and Leader's the one where you encourage people and they get speed. It's really good. Earl's really good. There's other ways of getting things. If you were to, what is it? I can't remember the other name of the other one. There's another knowledge that has something for when you encourage people. I don't think it was Legion, but I think it was collectivism. I can't remember exactly what it is, but this is really nice. So there's ways to strengthen your encourage. Let's go back to Count. Remember, Count was the one where you're going to want tokens, and then you're going to spend tokens to attack. So here's Count Armor, +2 to all hit locations. When you attack with a melee weapon, if it is not your first attack this round, you cancel any wound reaction on hit locations drawn. Right? So this uses the word any. I think this means just one. This needs clarification, but I think this means just one, right? So it's cancel any wound reaction on hit locations drawn, right? So if you draw like 4 hit locations, I don't know if it's meaning that you could cancel all of them or if it means you could cancel a single one. Like you're canceling any of those 4. From the hit locations drawn, you're going to cancel 1. But the way this reads, it could be easily read where you're going to cancel all wound from all drawn hit locations. But I'm not 100% certain on how this exactly works yet. I'll figure it out how this exactly works. We've learned with the word any, it can be tricky. From with Perfect Punt, when it says place any gear you want, it just means place 1 gear. So this could be just cancel 1 wound on any of them drawn, which is still good because you got to remember you're probably going to use this with Qatar and stuff. And Qatar already does that, right? When you get Qatar proficiency, where's our new girl's thing? New girl. I don't know where her thing is. Lenore, but Lenore has Lenore's really good, right? Say you had Qatar. Lenore's Qatar's on this, right? Lenore with Qatar specialization, she's able to cancel 2 reactions. This would cancel the third. So this is nuts. This is really good. Count armor is really good. Next, where'd I put the? Oh, underneath Earl armor. Okay. No wait, that's just Earl armor. Well, here's the third set. So where'd I put the gear though? Oh no, where'd I put that gear? Here it is. Alright, here's the third set. Swords in your gear grid gain the finesse keyword. When you riposte, so you also gain movement at the start of your next act. But we're going to talk about that. Riposte. Where is it? Okay, so here's... This is like the best set. This is like the third tier set, right? This is the one you really want, but I don't know if you're going to be able to get it. Hopefully you could. Swords in your gear grid without deflect gain deflect 1. Swords in your gear grid that already have deflect increase the effect by 1. That's crazy. This is crazy good. So we have, show the last one for, I'm going to show the gloves last. On arrival, all non-death survivors gain +2 survival, +2 movement while you have a sword in your gear grid. This one does nothing. Then we have the gloves here. This is, so when you block or deflect a hit, gain action at the start of your next act. Limit once per round. So when you block or deflect a hit, you gain an action token at the start of your next act. So basically what this means is, since this limit once per round, you want to make sure the monster turn is always before the survivor's turn, because it goes monster turn, survivor turn. That's the round structure. So if you're deflecting and blocking during the monster turn, that's how you'll be able to utilize this. Because if you put up your deflect on your act and then attack and get like, and you block a reaction or something, if there's happens to be a hit in a reaction, or if the trap triggers basic attack or something, you won't gain that act until the start of your next act. But still good. Yep, these gear sets are all really good. Like, these gear sets are all really interesting. So now you know what riposte is. You also gain a movement. So pretty much gives you a free act. A whole free turn. Pretty much. These gear sets are on. Here's just the cloth and sated. That's all Squire armor is. That's just basically for the Squire campaign. We'll talk about that. But there we go. There's all the pattern gear. We'll talk about the seed patterns. So before we move on, ready to move on, or do you guys have any questions about the gear sets? I've explained how to get them. All sets are great. I really love all 3 sets here. They're all great. So give it a second. Moving on, does anybody have a question? I'm gonna 30 seconds. If anybody has any things before we move on. Otherwise, we're gonna go to the seed stuff. I'll talk about the weapons. Seed patterns. Yep, all sets are really cool. Black Knight is like pretty good. After all the stuff I've been looking at, Black Knight's really, really, really good. I really like Black Knight. Black Knight, I think, is one of the best ones that could have gotten. If we were going to get, if Wave 4 was going to be split up, I'm glad Black Knight is one of the first ones out of the gate, because replacing hand is absolutely amazing. All right, moving on. I didn't see anything. Anybody have any questions on any of this gear? I'm going to assume because no one has any questions, I explained it pretty good. All right, here we go. Let's talk about the 2 seed pattern gear. I know there's more here, but clasping shield, again, you can make 3 of these. So, this is block 2. It is finesse, which is interesting. So if it's because of finesse, you can add barbed 4 to it with the lantern. So block 2. If another survivor would collide with you due to knockback, Instead, end their knockback and place them standing in the nearest unoccupied space to you. This is really good. It's really good for fighting anything on Inverted Mountain, I'm sure. Because we know the ram knocks you back. I'm pretty sure that sends you flying thing, where you go fly. I think ram also has things where it knocks you off the its dungeon. So, it's really good. This is really good for anything in Inverted Mountain. But this is also really good for, like, fighting dragons. Dragon King does all kinds of, like, knockback from its reactions and stuff. So, it's pretty good. So that's Clasping Shield. Again, it's not even that bad of a shield to attack with, because it's got 5 strength and finesse. So, pretty good. Let's go with... Next we have the paired... where did I put the paired? Yes. See, they do need to be rediscovered every single campaign. Here's the other seed pattern. Piercing Claws. So, these are paired. These are Katars. Barb 2, Barb 2 is not that big of a deal, but if 3 or more of your attack rolls hit, so this triggers before you draw hit location cards. The check is only counting hits. Remove a token from the monster before drawing a hit location. So, if you roll 3, it doesn't matter how many you roll, as long as you roll 3, doesn't matter if you roll 4, doesn't matter if you... It's only going to trigger if you roll 3, then you remove a token from the monster before drawing. This is insanely good against fighting Dragon Kings. Really good against fighting Dragon Kings. It's really good against, like, anything. When you get to level 3s and stuff, right? Or even if you get to, let's say you get to, like, the legendary monsters, or the level 3 node 1s, for example, right? Level 3 node 1s usually gain a bunch of evasion tokens and accuracy tokens. Remember, here, I'll show you, here's the Black Knight, for example, right? So when you look here for the level 3s, right? This +1 speed, +1 damage. These aren't tokens. These are just straight stat increases. But if you look down here, tokens, +8 tokens, +1 or +8 toughness, +1 accuracy. It will say tokens, right? Yes. This is a direct debuffing weapon, which is sick. Especially on a Katar user, right? And as we already talked about, what's the difference between a seed pattern and a pattern? The patterns you gain via... You need the patterns... So, okay. We'll do a quick thing to explain seed patterns. Seed patterns are the things you gain via insight, right? Whenever you hit your 3rd insight milestone for whatever campaign you're in, whenever you trigger insight via the understanding, or whenever you reach awake in a Dragon King, once you gain 3 understanding, you're going to trigger an understanding milestone. When you trigger that milestone is when you get a seed pattern. Patterns, on the other hand, you gain them from doing something. So all these things, as I mentioned, how you get these is you defeat the lion, or you defeat, not lion, I was going to say Lion Knight. When you defeat the Black Knight, you're going to gain one at random. There's also ways to gain 2 of them of your choice. So sometimes you'll be able to gain some of your choice, but regular patterns, you have to earn them in some way. Seed patterns, you just need survivors to crank out understanding milestones, and you'll get them. So these are just locked behind seeds, right? So these, you're just going to get them eventually. So these are straight debuffs. Now, these are sick with this. You put this on your Count dude, right? That's why I think the Count Mini's actually wearing these Katars too, if I remember right. I haven't built my Squire Minis yet, but these are just absolutely nuts with Shred. Or anything. Even Katar, even if you just have the Lion set, right? basically, if you're going to use these, you want methods of doing this. High speed with the count set, low, letting you cancel wounds, with Guitar Specialization, with Lenore's Claw. Why don't I have Lenore's Claw out? I was about to build Lenore's Claw in, like, our game. Where is it? I don't know where it is. I was literally about to build Lenore's Claw. Lenore's Claw works awesome with this. I can't wait to try Lion with Black Knight. Yes, you could remove negative tokens. You can remove any token of your choice, right? You remove a token. That's it. It doesn't tell you which one. It just tells you to remove a token. That means the monster controller gets to choose or the attacker gets to choose. But again, remember, the speed and damage, these are not tokens. These are straight attribute buffs. When you get a token for a monster, it will say on here, tokens that it starts with. Right here, tokens that it starts with. This is important for other gear that we're going to move on into. So, there's the seed pattern. There's all the stuff. Next, we're going to move into rare gear. Well, before rare gear, we can talk about the Black Knight badge. So, remember, for tactics cards, Black Knight comes with tactics cards. For tactics cards, the way it works is you need to have this. You need to have a badge. Doesn't matter what badge you have. You just need to have a badge. And then on arrival, you gain a strength token and draw a tactics card. It doesn't matter what badge you have. You draw a tactics card. Oh, the other thing I should mention. Everyone rejoice. So, this is kind of a funny thing, but I'm just going to mention it now. Even though, yes, I'm aware that it's funny. Yes, I know it sucks. Yes, I'm aware of all that. But I'm going to mention it. Hooray! Look at that! Black Knight comes with the tactics divider. Hooray! Everyone rejoice! So, if you want your tactics divider, you got to get Black Knight. But we finally have the tactics divider. So, I'll mention dividers too. So, you don't get very many dividers, right? You just get the Black Knight divider, and then you get the Squire campaign divider. But, you get the tactics divider. But the reason for that is, like rare gear, you already have all the other dividers. Remember, because everything's pattern, seed pattern, all that stuff came in 1.6. So there's no, you're not going to get a Black Knight gear divider and all that stuff. So there are no gear dividers in here. Because I know people were asking about it. It's fine. So don't think you don't have them. There just are no gear dividers. Because everything's a seed pattern, or everything's a pattern, or everything's rare gear. You already have the dividers in core. The only divider you won't have in core is the seed pattern divider, but I'm assuming with the next card pack saying that we're going to get all the promo stuff from Kickstarter 1 and all the false messenger stuff in that card pack, there was seed patterns listed, so I'm assuming the seed pattern divider will come with the next card pack. So, anyway, back to the Knight badge. So, it doesn't matter what badge you have, you're just going to draw from your tactics deck. I would assume you probably want to just include the tactics from the knights you're using, but you don't have to. You can include the tactics cards from any knight. Any badge will let you draw anything from the tactics deck. So that's how you draw from tactics cards. That's how you get them. Also remember, when you draw a tactics card, the person who's activating them is the badge wearer, right? So in order to do launch formation, in order to trigger it, well, this one's a bad example, but because this one has magenta. But remember, the badge wearer is the person who gains the benefits of the tactic because they're the one using it. So, all right, ready to move on? Ready to do all the rare gear? Rare gear is kind of spoilery. But rare gear is fun. When is this for sale? I don't know when Black Knight is for sale. I was kind of surprised it didn't go up for sale, but maybe 3 months. let's say 3 months. I'll say this will go on sale probably the end of May. Was it in the shop yesterday? I didn't see it in the shop yesterday. Was it in the? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's not. I don't think it was in there. So, let's continue on. I'm gonna do rare gear. All right. Rare gear is kind of spoilery. So, did I show the tile map? He comes with 16 tiles. I can show dungeon tiles again, but I did show them. Yep, my Millennium should be here on Sunday. Uh, but I'll show the dungeon tiles again, sure. So here's a dungeon tile example. He comes with 16 of these. You don't play on the showdown board. You need to explore them. So dungeon tiles need to be explored. How you do that is when you move around and stuff. It's just like other dungeon tile games, right? When you move to a new dungeon tile, you need to spend an action to flip it over, and then you need, well, you don't even need a lantern, right? So, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. All right. Let's go back. I'm going to start doing rare gear. All right. Rare gear is kind of spoilery. So if you want to just mute it, I don't know how you want to handle this. I'm going to sort out the most spoilery of stuff. How about that? We'll go with the most spoilerous stuff last. Okay. The dungeon was built by Blackguard, which is Percival's settlement. So, that is who built it. Alright, here we go. Remember, now this is all rare gear. Alright? Kind of spoilery, but here we go. Black Gauntlet. So, accessory. Ignore severe injuries to the arms location. You cannot activate two-handed weapons. So, this is really good. As we were talking about, the that when you fall, when you get thrown from knockback and you get thrown off the showdown board and stuff, as I was saying, when you roll below a 5, it's going to start causing hand severe injuries all the time, right? Because you're catching yourself or you're sliding around on the ground. So, this is really good. This is also really good if you have cross-arm block. With that fighting art cross-arm block. So, cross-arm block you can, like, get pretty reliably. I forget exactly what the innovation... No, is it? Roundstone train? No, I forget what it is. Oh, roundstone training I think also gives you... No, it doesn't. But cross-arm block. If you get cross-arm block and then you have this black gauntlet, it's insane. This has surprising synergy with the cat eye, or the Telseric eye tack. Anything you can do to direct hits towards your arms location. So yes, this is so all the people who want 10th anniversary survivors and the Telseric eye tack, you want a Telseric eye tack to your hands all the time. So secret buff to Telseric eye tack. Next, we have Camping Bag, which is sick. So, camping bag, -1 evasion. On arrival, all survivors gain +3 survival. Pretty good. Pretty good. Very easy to use gear. Everburn. This is an item. It's a tool. It's metal and other. So 9 strength, 1 speed. Again, this is a tool, so you can make it sharp with the Manhunter stuff. Tool weapons, very cool. 1 of your or an adjacent survivor's weapon gains sharp and deadly 2 until the end of the round. Limit once per round. This is crazy good, right? So, to give sharp to anything you want is really good. All right? Long claw. You want to give this to guitars or something? Anything, daggers, anything that normally has low strength but high speed, or not high speed, low strength but high luck, like lucky knives for the cat, the white lion and stuff. Sorry, I'm using the core game. The core game is how I check for balance, right? Because whenever in my mind, if you have Black Knight, you're definitely going to have the core game. So I know I keep using the core game as examples for how this works, but in my opinion, that's good design. You should design everything to work, synergize with core game or whatever, because you can't expect everybody to own literally everything. But so if you were to use like specializations or use regular fighting arts and stuff, daggers usually have high luck but low strength. So if you were doing if you had a dagger and you had a tank who was just going to block and then they could surge and then give, tanks usually have shields in their grids or something, maybe clubs, but this is really good for someone on a tank who's just going to have someone standing next to them anyway, and then you give them sharp and deadly 3. So Everburn is sick. We have Fellbrand here. This is a weapon. It's a grand weapon. This is sharp, devastating 1, deflect 1. When you wound the monster, it gains -1 evasion token. Limit once per round. So you can wound pretty consistently with this. Anything that can drop -1 evasion tokens is really good. So Fellbrand here is pretty good. It's 1 speed, but it's got sharp and it's got devastating. So you're not looking to, like, this is a, right, because it's grand, you're looking to probably have this on a grand specialist or a grand weapon. Does it need to be master? No, I think it's specialization. Whatever it is when you crit and knock down, right? So this is fine. With 1 speed and devastating, this is perfect, right? So, and it's got high strength and sharp, and it's a grand weapon. The fact that it's grand means all you're really looking for is to knock the monster down. So this is perfect. This is a really good weapon for a Grandmaster. So debuffing the monster and knocking it down if it's not a level 3, really good. It's a really good debuffing weapon. So now we have Magnum Knives. These are thrown weapons. It's a thrown sword. So thrown sword. This has range 5, deadly, and savage. So deadly and savage obviously pair together. So this is again range 5. Because this is a actual weapon and not just like a thrown thing where it's not just thrown all by itself, you can use Everburn on this to give it sharp if you wanted to. Because, it's not just a thrown without the weapon keyword. It is a sword and a dagger. And then when you attack, if you are within 3 spaces of the monster, you may hit once automatically instead of making any attack rolls. So, pretty good. Can hit once automatically. Portable water phone. This is an instrument and it's noisy. Tune the water phone and roll 1d10. On an 8+, the vibrations affect the monster. Remove 1 of its tokens. Pretty good. Shrieking bow. This is a ranged bow that's noisy. So that sucks. These are all rare gear, so they have an assortment of difficulty to get. Right? There's an assortment of difficulty to trigger them. Some of them are easier to get than others. Some of these are the Squire weapons, so that's like another thing. So, like, for example, here's some Squire gear on here, right? Let's look at the Squire. There's no gear for this. They're just gonna get Sanctuary Longsword, right? For example, I didn't show that one, right? I also didn't show all the Squire pants and stuff here, right? Didn't show Squire tool belt, blackguard knife, the hammer, right? Some of this stuff is just going to be just in the Squire campaign, and some of it is for the Squire campaign, like the water phone and stuff. And some of it, well, it's going to be ranging difficulty to get, right? It's not always going to be. It's rare gear. Rare gear is what it is. I can explain how to get them all if you want, but all right. Here's some spoilers. All right, if you don't want spoilers, I would suggest I'll try to do this kind of quick, but I have a feeling everyone's going to want to talk about this. So what I'm about to show is insane. All right, these next two things are quite insane. Super spoilery, super cool. Are you guys ready? If you don't want to be spoilered, we got two gear we're going to talk about. All right? There's your spoiler warning. But what you're about to see is super cool. All right, here we go. This is a weird little thing here. What's going on? Why is this like this? Oh, I see. So here's Iron Hand. Look at this gear. Kind of crazy. So this is the Iron Hand weapon. You get this. Well, yeah. This big old sword here. This is Iron Hand. Weapon, melee, club, grand, sword, two-handed, metal, massive, and heavy. When you gain this, you gain both cards. So this gear, even though it's two gear, is just crazy. This is unique, sharp, reach 3, devastating 3, irreplaceable. This is 2 speed, 5 plus accuracy, 30 strength. So yeah, this is unique, sharp, reach 3, devastating 3, irreplaceable. You may concentrate. So concentrate is a thing that is used more in. I don't think there's anything in the core game that concentrates, but it was first introduced in Echoes. When you concentrate, you basically have to pass your turn, and then nothing can happen to you. You can't move, you can't be moved, you can't take damage, you can't spend survival. If you do any kind of anything, move, be moved, move around, it ends your concentration. You can't spend survival, you can't do anything. But then once it comes back to your turn, you've then concentrated successfully. When you successfully concentrate, that's what it means here by if you do. Then, so once you've successfully concentrated, that means you've started your act again between when you declared to concentrate at the start of your last act and then till now, you'll basically what you want to do is you want to be the last person to act on the survivor round. You want to be the last survivor to go. So then the monster goes, and then you want to be the first survivor to go at the start of the next survivor round. So that way you're basically only waiting their monster's turn to not have anything done for you. So then if you concentrate, you spend an action to perform an attack with this weapon at the start of your next act. So if the monster is within reach, that ignores impervious and parry. So you can wound impervious. You can now wound impervious locations. This gear cannot be activated any other way. So the reason why it says this gear cannot be activated any other way is because you could have things like, things in your gear grid, like pounce and stuff, that say and activate a melee weapon. You can't do that, right? So you won't be able to ignore, like with cumbersome, right? You can ignore cumbersome if you pounce or something. This, you cannot activate this in any other way. No indirect activation will allow this sword to activate. So, and then this gear, or this ignores impervious, so that means you can wound impervious locations. It also ignores parry, meaning that you'll wound a parry location, which is nuts. So this has 30 strength and sharp. Crazy. Reach 3, which is also crazy, which just says why it's within reach. Devastating 3 and irreplaceable. So this is basically crazy, right? This is just basically going to do 4 damage. Maybe possibly 8 damage, which is just nuts. Yes, you can do 8 wounds in 1 attack. This is quite insane. So there's Iron Hand. How you get that is pretty spoilery. I'm not going to talk about it. One more spoiler weapon. Here we go. Spoilery weapon. Well, remember, Iron Hand is not slow. So you could gain speed tokens. Right? You could gain speed tokens with it. It's not slow. Alright, next we have Wrath. This is a weapon, melee, sword, nuclear. Resin and finesse. This has all the keywords, all the cool keywords, all the keywords you could ever want. When you critically wound with this, archive all tokens the monster has and inflict an additional wound for each. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's talk about this. So I already explained how tokens work, right? So let's go ahead and talk about this. So, when you critically wound, archive all tokens the monster has and inflict an additional wound for each. So, let's go to Black Knight here. Level 3 Black Knight starts with 8 toughness tokens and an accuracy. So if you hit him and you crit round 1 with this, if this is the very first attack that you do to start the showdown with this Wrath here, you will instantly inflict 10 wounds and remove 8 toughness tokens for 1 attack. Wrath is quite nuts. This weapon is quite nuts. Wrath Wrath can instantly kill some monsters. Yes, there are monsters in the game that will be instantly killed by Wrath. Wrath is crazy, alright? Wrath is absolutely crazy. Monsters that generate tokens all the time will be, like, just cut up by this. So, you know, attacking Dragon Kings that constantly... Well, I mean, how many crit locations does the Black Knight have? I don't think the Black Knight has that many crit locations. I'll have to look. He's got them, though. 1, 2... You'll have a good chance at it. Oh, yeah, it's more than half his deck. More than half the deck is critting. Yes. No, this will instantly kill. So, for example, this will instantly kill the Legendary Phoenix. The Legendary Phoenix starts with like 1,000 luck tokens, right? And there's ways you can get around his critting with the luck token, right? There's a knowledge that you can get around to the fact that you can crit when you ignore monster tokens with the knowledge. So if you had that knowledge and you attacked into the Golden Knight, Yes, he has 1,000 tokens. They're luck tokens, so you couldn't kill him with it, but you could ignore his tokens. And then you could still crit. No, you can. There's a knowledge that lets you get around that. There's a knowledge that lets you ignore monster tokens. So if you're ignoring the luck tokens, means you can crit him. And then if you crit him, he will die instantly. I forget what the knowledge is called. No, that's Gambler. Gamblers cannot be removed for any reason. The GoldenEye King, you can remove his luck tokens. Yeah, the Gambler, you can't remove them. So, that's Wrath. Fun stuff. Alright, that's the end of huge spoilers for those rare gear. We've now looked at all the rare gear. Let's check out. We looked at all the patterns, looked at all the rare gear. We'll talk. So I'm going to record the Squire campaign. So the goal is still to record the Squire campaign and start recording it next week, right away, like on Monday. So when we do that, I'll explain all these suspicions, but these are just for the Squire campaign. So you can see here, Squire campaign, he gets his own little card back. All of this stuff. It's best to just explain that and all the gear grids for all the cards, all that stuff in the in that campaign. So hopefully I can start getting those videos out because I'm going to do those edited. So the Squire campaign, I'm going to do it as an edited video like I used to do all my other seasons and stuff. So it will be edited. I'll cut down on a lot. That way I could cut out a lot of stuff. It will be a lot quicker. I'll try some other editing stuff to make the videos shorter and stuff, but Squire campaign is going to be edited. So I'll start recording it next week, hopefully get episodes out next week too, and then we'll talk about all the suspicion and all that stuff. So, let's talk about new stuff. Here we go. So, we got the Knighting settlement events. What am I more hyped for? Millennium or Rebirth? Or well, Millennium, well, they're all really good, but I really want Millennium. Rebirth I've already started playing. I'm going to go right back to Rebirth as soon as we're done with this stream. We're going right back to Rebirth. So, Knighting, here we go. A random returning survivor runs before the settlement to receive their accolades. They rise to receive their honor code. Choose a table based on which virtues they have the most of and roll 1d10. Honorable survivors add +2 to their roll. So we have a, what is it? Vow of Persistence, roll 1d10. Gain Rageaholic, gain Destructive Vow ability. Destructive Vow, at the end of your act, gain +3 Insanity if you have attacked. If not, suffer 3 brain damage. So the way this is the Insanity is your highest, Strength is your highest stat, or Courage is your highest. A Vow of Protection, roll 1d10. So gain Broken Vow. Broken Vow, if any survivor with 0 Hunt XP is in your hunting party, or if any survivor with 0 Hunt XP in your hunting party die during the Hunter Showdown, you retire. Gain the Quixotic Disorder. You are guardless forever. Record this. Gain Iron Will ability. Iron Will. Cannot be knocked down. Reduce all knockback suffered to 1. So that is just a regular settlement event. Next we have settlement events. I think this one's also a regular one. Actually, now I can't remember. One of these might not be a regular one. Well, I know one of them isn't, but I think one of these is not also. The Bell's Lofty President inspires competition of righteous skill. Nominate 2 survivors with at least 1 Hunt XP. If possible, roll 1d10 for each survivor. The higher result is the winner. The other, the loser. Use the difference between the rolls to determine the results. So then you're looking at the difference. So, 0 is actually the best roll because there's no difference, which is interesting. Jousters strike one another. Gain 1 understanding. So this one is just really neat, right? I'm not going to read this whole thing, but there you go. Jousting is new. Settlement event. So then here's the settlement event. This one happens. This one gets added and happens at intervals. So this is It Rang. A single resounding note tolls over the settlement, followed by a collective gasp. Roll 1d10. Way of the Rust ability. You can gain this from here, which is crazy. Can gain all kinds of cool stuff. This one, we'll talk about this. Is there an expansion to overhaul the hunt system? I don't know what's going to happen in Inverted Mountain. We haven't gotten too much talk about what the hunt system is. So let's go look at some more cards here. So, we've got these. Talked about all these. So you got all these vignette survivors. We're not going to talk about these. I'm going to explain all these when I do the first video. So I'll explain all of it. So we're not going to talk about that. The terrain and stuff, we're not going to talk about the terrain. I'll explain all that first video as well. Because the first video, you fight a Black Knight. Alright? So the prologue for the Squire campaign is you fighting a Black Knight. So the first episode I get out, as soon as I record it on Monday, it will have the Black Knight in there. So you will see it right away. This is not supposed to be in there. Let's talk about the 2 Secret Fighting Arts. So we got Secret Fighting Arts from Black Knight. Here we go. This is Hard-Headed. Reduce all damage to your head hit location to 1. Pretty good. Sacred Code. Once per showdown, during your act, you may recite the code. Everyone and everything else trembles and collapses into a heap. All other survivors and monsters are knocked down. It's crazy, crazy good. Crazy good. Those are the Secret Fighting Arts. Which monsters are supposed to be in the Black Knight campaign? Black Knight is in the Black Knight campaign. Twice. So 2 fights against the Black Knight. Then you have a fight against the Lion. So it goes Black Knight, Lion, Kingsman, Phoenix, Black Knight. That's how it goes. Black Knight, Kingsman, Black Knight, Lion, which is interesting. We're going to talk about the Lion, right? So it goes Black Knight, Lion, which I'll get to. The Lion is nuts, all right? We're gonna talk about that. And then Kingsman, then Phoenix, and then Black Knight. So we'll get to the. I'm gonna end talking about the Lion. That Lion is something else. We're gonna talk about the Lion. We have Escape Art. Oh, these are regular fighting arts. So these are just regular fighting arts. Escape Artist. If you would suffer an after damage effect, roll 1d10. On an 8+, you definitely escape. Ignore that effect. This is crazy good. This is crazy good, Escape Artist. This can just negate entire gimmicks of monsters. For example, Butcher, right? I know it's not like super reliable that you get an 8+, but if you can ignore bleed from Butcher, that's like its entire gimmick. This is a crazy good regular fighting art. This is something that might be worth sculpturing just to get on every single survivor. Just because it almost completely erases gimmicks of a monster. It's kind of nuts. This is such a good one. Sure, it's an 8+, not very reliable, but it's pretty good. Next we have Feral Strength. Gain +1 strength, if insane, when attacking with a non-finesse weapon. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's not too bad. 30% chance is pretty decent, especially since after damage effects can be entire gimmicks, right? Like I said, with Butcher, you can do after damage bleed. There's also expansion monsters that trigger their, traits off of the, trigger their gimmick off of after damage. Like, what is it? Not Kingsman. Some monsters gain, their engine is based on them doing an ability, and the ability is based on an after damage. So, Feral Strength is pretty straightforward. Again, these are just regular fighting arts. So, Piercer, Daggers and swords gain precision 1 when you attack knight monsters. Not super great here, but precision 1 is still really good. So precision 1 on a perfect hit, inflict an automatic critical wound to the first location you resolve. So this is really, really, really dependent on what your campaign is. This could be either really good or really bad. It will always work against Black Knight, because Black Knight, it is the fighting art for Black Knight. So this will be filtered out of your fighting art deck if you're not using Black Knight. But for example, this will work against Gold Smoke Knight, because it is a knight. This will also work against, again, Lion Knight and all those things. But this will also work against Flower Knight. Now, Flower Knight is an actual quarry, right? So Flower Knight is really good. it's not, Flower Knight's not great in the current thing, but if Campaigns of Death makes it a legit quarry, you could have precision against your entire Node 2 quarry all campaign. This is kind of crazy. But again, it really depends on what's in your campaign, whether or not this is actually any good. It's okay if you're only using Black Knight, but if you're using other knights, that's really good. We're done with fighting arts. Let's talk about the disorders that get added. We have dishonorable. You cannot depart unless you are insane. Gain +1 speed while attacking a monster that is knocked down or from its blind spot. So this is the reverse of Kingsman looks like a knight to me. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it will work against them, right? So, I mean, again, Flower Knight kind of sucks. Dung Beetle Knight's really good. Dung Beetle Knight, it's a really good one to use it against. That's a Node 4. So yeah, it depends a lot on your setup of your campaign if that's going to be a great fighting art or an okay fighting art. Because, I mean, let's face it, Black Knight's no pushover. So even if you have just this and you're only using Black Knight, it's still not terrible. So we have dishonorable. This is just the opposite of honorable. So next, you are not sure-footed. When you end your movement on terrain, you are knocked down. This sucks. When you end your movement on terrain, it's knocked down. This sucks. Unless you're using that one, unless you're using the, this. Oh no, not that. The other one. Earl. If you're using Earl. There we go. If you can find consistent ways to get encouraged all the time, it's awesome. It is awesome. Last here. When you suffer knockback, suffer monster level brain damage. This sucks. This sucks. This is a terrible disorder to get. There's no way to really play around this, and this just sucks. So, this sucks. What a bad disorder. We're not going to talk about the... We're not going to talk about the innovations. I'm going to talk about those when I make the first episode. But let's talk about Catboy. All right. So here are our AI cards for our cats. Right. Here's AI for the White Lion. Now here we go. We just fought White Lion. So I have its deck right here. There's a regular White Lion card. There's a White Lion AI card that's added in Black Knight. It kind of sucks that it's like this. But it is what it is, I guess. You can see there. It is what it is, alright? They're different. If you can see that they're different. Kind of sucks, but whatever. Hopefully this gets fixed in the patch. In the card pack. But yeah, they're different. Yeah, extra AI cards for White Lion. But you can see they're different. They've got this, like, the filigree here is way bigger. It's just more. So you'll be able to tell what these cards are every single time they're in the AI deck. They're all like that. Kind of sucks. They're very obvious. Like, very obvious. So that kind of sucks that that's like that. Hopefully we get new ones in the card pack. It's not a different size. It's just that there's too much of the... It's just the filigree for the emblem, for the crest, the monster crest, right? The filigree, it's too big. This should have been not there, or should have been cut down on. But hopefully the card pack will fix that. But they are AI cards, so it does have basic. These are extra AI cards. It's not a crest change. Right? Because remember, we just got AI stuff. Where is it? Hold on, I'm looking. Yeah. We just got them. So here's the White Lion. This is the Indomitable Resource. This is the one from Lenore. So, like, this, if they were changing the crest of the lion, this would have also had it. Not a big deal. It just kind of sucks. But, I don't know. Apparently the crest is old. It's an old crest, apparently. Because people have said they've seen it on older stuff. But, anyway, where did I put those cards? Let's talk about the cards. Oops, now I put them down and here they are. Let's talk about the Mountain Lion. No, well, yeah. No. This one is, right? So let's talk about Mountain Predator here. So you're going to have, there's a unique White Lion in the 5-year campaign, right? The White Lion is the... So the White Lion is a mountain lion. This you'll only use, because this is a trait, you'll only use this when you set up the White Lion for the Squire campaign. So this one doesn't matter, right? If this would have been a different crest, who cares? Because it's a different card. You're never going to set it up. You don't draw these at random. The other two are basic AI cards. So you could include them with all your lions if you wanted to. I don't see why you wouldn't. You can. It's neat that the lion got extra AI cards, so that's cool. But anyway, let's talk about this Mountain Predator trait. If anybody's read this now while I've been talking, this trait is bonkers. When your movement or knockback ends farther away from the monster, its hunger intensifies. Put a token on this card. Well, again, these are basic cards. The other two are basic ones. These ones are in the deck all the time. These are basic White Lion. These could be added to any time you fight a lion at all, and you shuffle basic AI in there. So, but for this one, it doesn't matter. But the other two, it does. So, yeah, let's talk about this. So, let's say you were 2 spaces away from Lion Boy, right? We can do this. Let's talk about Lion Boy here. Let's say you had Lion Boy right here, and you were right here, and someone else was right here, right? So if you're 1 space away now, and you move closer to here, you're closer than you were before, right? You're 1 space closer. You're not farther away than you were. You were only 1 space away before, right? You're 2 spaces, or you're 1 space away here, you're 2 spaces away here, right? So now you move closer. You don't have to worry about this trait, because the trait says when your movement or knockback ends farther away from the monster, You didn't. You ended your movement closer now. But if you were, say you were here, and you dash to here, right? So now you've dashed to back up, right? Now your movement ends here. You're going to put a token on the card, right? Now you've added a token because you're farther away than you were. Even if you dash to here and then pounce, you still have to add a token because you ended your movement farther away. So even if you were to dash and then pounce instantly, you'd still get a token on top of that card. Now, let's say our lion boy drew one of these new cards, all right? Let's say the lion boy drew this one, Wild Eye Stare, random threat, right? So these two are threats, doesn't matter, we're going to determine one of them randomly. Then it's going to move and intimidate. So the monster meets your gaze with an unfeeling primal stare. Turn to face the target and roll a d10. On a roll of 2+, the target suffers brain damage and knockback 6. Right? So now it's going to target whatever. It's going to target this person, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and knocks them away, knockback 6. Right? Now the knockback from this card alone, just put a card on this. Just put a token on it, right? Just because you got knocked back. So even if you were to then knock back 6 and then move, say you knock back 6 and instantly dashed your 5, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you dash 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're still farther away than you were. This would then add 2 tokens because you're 1 space away even when you dash back. It's kind of nuts. This trait is kind of nuts. That action of you dashing back, would still trigger it. So you would have added 2 tokens just from you getting knockback 6 and then you dashing back 5. You wouldn't have made it back to where you started from, right? Or no, you'd move closer, right? You'd be knockback 6. Now you move 5. Now you don't add a token because you move closer, but you'd have to move again. You can never move like anywhere else that doesn't add tokens. It sucks so bad. But the next one is, so now we've seen 2 of these cards. Here's the other basic thing. It's the same thing, kind of. Random threat. Turn to face a target. The monster emits a horrible scream. Each non-death threat in the monster's facing rolls 1d10. The monster suffers flee. So again, with flee, every single movement. Yeah, it's just 1 token. It's every single different movement, right? So if you got flee and then moved back, the flee would cause a thing. Add a token, and then if you couldn't get back, or say you couldn't move closer. So say you were against the board edge, right? If you got knocked back towards the monster, you wouldn't do a token, right? But if you got, say you did flee from this, and you were against the board edge, if this was the board edge here, flee would send you towards the closest board edge, so you wouldn't move. Well, no, flee is knocked back towards the closest board edge, so you wouldn't move here. So flee would be okay because you're already against the board edge. But if you started here against the board edge, you'd slide across it, which kind of sucks. So there's a lot of ways this thing could get out of control, especially if he's doing like Terrifying Roar. Terrifying Roar affects all survivors, right? I don't think I have Terrifying Roar out. Let me see. No, I don't think I grabbed Terrifying Roar. But Terrifying Roar would affect all survivors, and then all survivors suffer knockback, and then you'd add 4 tokens because all 4 survivors. You could add up to 5 tokens if there's a scout. So where's that trait? So let's go back to the trait itself. Now that we've seen all this knockback nonsense. So then the trait itself, where did I put the trait? Right here, right? No. Where did I just put that card? Under here? No. Well, anyway, wherever I put that card, I can't see it because I have so many cards laying out here. The trait adds whenever there's a token, or at the start of the monster's turn. Where did I just put that card? Oh, here it is. Here it is. So once you put all these tokens on there, right? So I just showed examples, and then when you get like Terrifying Roar, you can get up to 4 tokens on this. And then at the start of each monster turn, remove a token from Mountain Predator and draw an AI. Repeat this until there are no tokens. So basically, if you had like 4 tokens on there, you're going to draw 4 AIs, right? So let's say you drew 1. So you remove 1 token. Let's get some tokens. Let's get some tokens. So there we go. We've got 4 tokens on this bad boy. Let's move one of these tokens. All right, that triggers an AI. Now this is the start of the monster's turn. So that means this before the monster begins its turn, you're triggering this trait. So we remove a token. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Oh, we did this stupid card. All right, we roll a 4+ to see what happens. We rolled a 4. Good. So we wouldn't have suffered the flee thing from this. So then we do another thing. We do another token. Let's get the next one. So we draw this stupid card on a 2+. All right. So on a 2+, we suffer brain damage and knockback 6. So we do our knockback 6. Another token gets added. All right. Well, now we're cycling tokens. Let's draw another one. What happens here? Let's go this one. Let's go Revenge. So now we drew Revenge. Let's go with something. Let's say we get triggered the after damage. Oh, that's going to give us Grab. And the Grab's going to pull us someplace else. Right? And then we're cycling more cards. We'll just keep cycling. Now we've drawn 4 cards. We actually drew 5 cards because 1 card triggered a flee. Then after those 5 cards, we then draw an AI because we haven't started the monster's turn yet. Yes, it can continue to place tokens before it's even done. Even once you get rid of all the tokens, you then need to do another draw AI, right? So then you do the turns AI for the turn itself. Then you could draw this again. Or you could draw Terrifying Roar, the one that tells everybody to move around. But then that AI, say we drew this, we get another, was it a 2+? Okay, a 9, that's another 2+. This AI would then add another token back, and then next turn, you're still adding more tokens. Yes, it's infinite. This thing could go infinite in a crazy, crazy manner. It's gonna be fun. So this is the second thing we fight in the Squire campaign. Crazy. It has potential to go infinite for almost probably in perpetuity. Yeah, unless you're just rolling really well, you could just infinitely suffer. Infinite suffering. Hooray. I think that is it. We've now covered pretty much everything, I think. right? I'm looking right now. Have we covered everything? Let me look. Let me look. Doot, doot, doot. Yeah, once it's empty, you stop, right? But then you draw for the AI turn. And then you just keep putting tokens back. And well, you don't draw AI with ground fighting. All right, I think that is it. Yeah. So yes, what Jay just said. If Terrifying Roar was the only card in there, it would go infinite because you'd keep drawing it. So that is it. Hopefully, anybody else have any questions? I don't really want to go through the entirety of the book because I'm going to record the. So I'm going to do the first episode of the Squire campaign on Monday. So I don't really want to go through everything in the book, but I've showed now everything in the game. So yeah. Well, Wrath removes tokens the monster has. The tokens are on this card, so it's these tokens aren't on the monster. These tokens are on the card. So Wrath wouldn't remove those tokens. So, yep, that's it. So, Millennium Butcher should be here Sunday for me. If Millennium Butcher shows up on Sunday, maybe I'll probably stream Millennium Butcher. I'll do the same exact thing for Millennium Butcher, but the goal is to just record the Squire campaign and get it all recorded and get all those up in edited videos. And then go back to streaming with Black Knight in our stream campaign. Did you mention when we get to fight? It replaces the hand. So it's a hand replacement. So Lantern Year 13, right? That's hand. Lantern Year 13. Yeah. So you just replace the hand, the Regal Visit and all that stuff, and you just you replace it completely with Black Knight. So and then he'll go from the timeline from there. Then he gets added multiple years. I think it's like year 20 and then year 18. And then I can look. Yep, so year 13. And then after that, there'll be more things after that. So you add his story event to Lantern Year 13, then his story event triggers, and you add it to 17. So then you'll fight a level 2 on 17 and a level 3 on 24. So, well, if you play with the Dreamkeeper, you get a hand special showdown. So the other 2 years are 17 and 24. And then Dreamkeeper, the hand is still there, but he's a special showdown, Lantern Year 13. So, that's how it works. All right. Miss anything else? Anybody else want to see anything? Again, I don't really want to show all the whole book because I'm going to fight Black Knight on Monday. We'll do all that. So, yeah, 13, 17, 24 are the years he'll be added to with the level 2, level 3. You cannot Heart Flute the Black Knights. And there's ways to adjust Black Knight to fight him more. You can never fight a lower level, and you can't Heart Flute it. But so if you wanted to, you could get a level. There's ways to get a level 2 pretty quick. There's also ways to get a level. The Scout gear grids. You mean the Squires? There's no Scout gear grids. Again, I can show all these But I'm gonna record on Monday, and I'm gonna do the choir campaign Monday. Hopefully, have the video out by Tuesday or Wednesday. So what? Millennium Butcher. I should have Millennium Butcher on Sunday. If I get Millennium Butcher on Sunday, Monday I'll stream the same sort of thing, but for Millennium Butcher, and then I'll probably fight the vignette of Millennium Butcher. If I get it Sunday, I'll have time to build the Butcher, and then we can fight Millennium Butcher. On Monday, I'll stream that. But the Squire campaigns, I'm gonna go back to doing the edited season. So because I know everybody always asks me to do the edited stuff, so I'll go back. I don't mind editing up all the Squire campaign. Means we won't do it super fast, but I'll try to do it as fast as I can. Maybe I can get all 5 episodes out within 2 weeks. That would be nice. We'll try for that. But I'm going to record and edit the Squire campaign. So, here we go. Here's the Squire gear grids. Quickly go through these. Alright, let me see. I just got to look at the... So there's, again, Sanctuary Longsword. This is not a gear you can get. These gears are unique. So, Sanctuary Longsword. Again, these are just things just for the Squires. Perfect hit. Set the result of the extra strength roll from sharp to 10 for the first wound attempt this attack. Interesting sword. It's a very interesting effect. Too bad you'd never be able to use it. And then we talked about all this gear. This is the one set I showed all this gear. So that's the first Squire. Next Squire, they have got Squire Tool Belt. Put a token on this if you would suffer knockback. Well, there is a token on this. Remove a token and place your survivor on the closest unoccupied space instead. Then you have Scout Hood. You may reveal the top card from either the AI or hit location. If the trap is revealed this way, suffer 3 brain damage. Otherwise, you may discard it. So that's the Scout gear. Black Guard Knife, Persistence 1. On a perfect hit, if you are attacking from the blind spot, gain +1 luck. Then the Scout Tunic. Reduce all damage to hit locations by 1 to a minimum of 1. When your chest armor points reach 0, lose this effect for the rest of the showdown. Then we have Squire Sandals. +1 movement, +1 evasion. When you are knocked down, roll 1d10. On a 6+, you nimbly recover and stand. That is the Squire set. Now, the other 2 Squires, well, all the other Squires have the Squire set. Then we have, what do we have here? Where's the new, the hammer. An adjacent survivor restores 3 to all hit locations. So that's what this fist does. And then he has all the rest of the Squire gear. Next, Black Guard Knife. We've already seen that. Actually, L. These 2 are clones. Right? Yeah. So L and Owen are clones. They're literally the same grid. So those are the unique Squire grids and all their Squire gear. So, anything else? Does anybody else want to see anything? Otherwise, I think we've wrapped it pretty much up. We should, yeah, we've wrapped it pretty much up. I've shown everything. Spoiled it all. Everybody has now seen everything. So, no requests to see anything else or any questions about it. Otherwise, we shall get to the Squire campaign next week. Millennium Butcher. Hopefully, maybe I'll be streaming Monday with Millennium Butcher. That'd be great. So, condition for the strain. There are no strain. Oh, are you talking about Millennium? There's no strains in Black Knight. So, the condition for the strain for Millennium is probably just when it. There's eight endings, I think. I think it said there's 8 different endings. So it's probably just reached one of the endings. We'll have to look at the strain to see what it is when Clinium comes, but it's probably survived with all four. I'm assuming it's probably all four survive, or maybe one person survives and they make their wish for something, and then that's one of the strains. But we do not know exactly what it is. I can assume it's just win the vignette in a certain way. How do you add Black Knight in normal? There are the two strains in Clinium. Alright, so then if there's two strains in Clinium, then they'll probably just win the campaign in a certain way. How do you add it? You replace hand. So if you're starting a brand new, fresh, without Gambler's Chest, you just remove the hand from the timeline, and you remove Regal Visit. When's Regal Visit? I don't even remember when Regal Visit is. Like, is it Lantern Year 11 or something? I think it's like Lantern Year 10 or 11. So you remove Regal Visit, and then you remove the hand from your timeline, and then the same year, Lantern Year 13, you replace with Black Knight. The Nemesis Black Knight level 1. You replace that for hand. And then for Gambler's Chest, you just add the story event. So you add the story event to Lantern Year 13, and then that triggers a fight with the Black Knight that year, and then you have a special showdown with the hand in Gambler's Chest that same year. So you just add a special showdown with the hand to Lantern Year 13 if you're playing People of the Dreamkeeper. That's how that works. Any other questions? I'll answer all the questions as long as they're not super spoilery. In my opinion, normally, I spoiled a lot of stuff, but there's still a couple things that are pretty spoilery, which I can talk about. Well, I don't really want to talk about them. They're pretty spoilery. Black Knight has a pretty good story to it. The story events are pretty good. The Squire campaign, like I said, I'm hoping I'm going to get it all out for you by the end of, with 2 weeks. I'll try to get all 5 episodes out within 2 weeks. So you won't have to wait too long. The story, pretty good from what I saw. Don't really want to spoil it too much. So, any other questions? I'm going to give it, go 2 or 3 more minutes. That will put it exactly at 2 hours. That sounds good. And I can get, hopefully I can get Clinium. If I can get Clinium Sunday, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. I don't think there's, we went over all the, let's see. Add any fighting art and philosophy. Oh, I did not show the philosophy for Black Knight. Or not a philosophy. I didn't show her knowledges. They did. They added knowledges. So, here's the duty-bound knowledge. I forgot to show it. So here's the Black Knight knowledge, which is just duty-bound. When you depart, you make an observation. So, that's it. You're just going to do this. Duty-bound 2. If you are retired or otherwise cannot depart, you may gain 1 systemic pressure to depart this lantern year. When you gain systemic pressure, gain a observation. And there we go. Duty bound. If you are retired or otherwise cannot depart, you may gain 1 systemic pressure to depart this lantern year. On arrival, gain deflect tokens equal to your systemic pressure. Very, very neat. It's a very interesting, neat little knowledge. Doesn't do a whole bunch. Poor Percival. She doesn't have an arm or a leg. Percival's all messed up. But, looks good. No philosophy was added. Just the one monster knowledge. 29. CC 29 for the monster knowledge for Black Knight. CC 29. Yeah, it's a very low. It's good. It's just a very low stake knowledge, which is good. It doesn't need to be like the best knowledge. Low stake knowledge is fine. It's good. It's not terrible. Adding too much would have been too much, I think. So I think it's fine, just the way it is. 29. Let's see. What is that? Yeah, you're probably not gonna get the knowledge for after the first time you defeat. Well, you got to remember, Black Knight. Just adding Black Knight in itself adds 9 CC to your campaign. If you're playing Dreamkeeper, Black Knight will add 9 CC. If you're playing Dreamkeeper. If you're playing a regular non-Dreamkeeper campaign where you're not adding hand, you'll lose that extra 3 CC. Or no, so yeah, you'll lose 3 of that 9 CC. So you're getting an extra 6 CC just by using Black Knight because he's got a level 2 and a level 3. Whereas hand doesn't have a level 2 and a level 3. You just fight him once. So you're getting 6 extra CC just by using Black Knight. So not too bad, not too shabby. Alright. I think it's all good. Thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully that answers all your Black Knight questions. And hopefully, if I'm streaming on Monday, that means I have Kalani and Butcher. Otherwise, I'm just going to be recording Squire campaign and everything and getting that edited for everybody. So, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.